So, readers, you may have just thought it's just a gym class, there's no real setting, but you reread thinking about the mood or the atmosphere of the place, and it turns out it's kind of bad, right? Like, you do get a vibe. Um, and let's investigate as we read on how this mood, nasty, competitive, intimidating, fake, might shape the character Will. I'm guessing that Will's actions and decisions will be affected by this atmosphere. Let's read on and try to figure how this place might wrap around Will, exerting pressure to be nasty, mean, competitive, intimidating, or fake. Things probably would have taken a peaceful turn if I hadn't walked home with Kevin Cox after school and told him that next time Mike and I played basketball, I was really going to throw some elbows. And if he, Mike, didn't like it, I would fight anytime. I would fight him anytime, anywhere. I don't know why I said this. Perhaps I was thinking of the Mike I had known a year before. Perhaps I was thinking of the thin, gullible, good-natured Mike who had since grown 4 inches, gained 15 pounds, and become as humorless and menacing as a drill sergeant. Kevin looked at me doubtfully. Do you really think you can take him? He asked me. Since Kevin had always been one of my most loyal and servile followers, I was astonished by his doubt in my physical prowess. I know I can take him, I said. He's 3 inches taller than you, Kevin said. So, he's really strong. I'm really strong. Kevin shrugged. Okay, he said, but I think Mike could take you. Now it was my turn to shrug. It was also my turn to lay a condescending hand upon Kevin's shoulder and leave him to ponder his absurd and traitorous notions. The next day in school, everything proceeded as usual. I listened to the teachers, took notes, fell asleep, made a few uncalled for remarks, and gazed at Denise Young's legs. During lunch, I was sitting at a table with a table full of friends, talking and listening in my usual superior way, when I heard Mike Ditcher say, "Hey, buddy." Somehow, I knew that he meant me. Somehow, I knew that all kinds of jigs were up and that something momentous was going to happen. I turned to look at him. "I hear you want to fight me," he said. "That's right," I said. "I'll meet you after school." "I'll be there," I said. Then he walked away, and I discovered two interesting things about myself. The first was that the idea of fighting terrified me, and the second was that in moments of extreme fear, my body produced ice-cold sweat. Someone said something to me, and I smiled and nodded. Someone said something else to me, and I smiled and nodded at that too. Perhaps they were giving me advice. Perhaps they were telling me to stay low and lead with my left. I stood up, without really knowing I was standing up, and walked from the cafeteria to the playground. I had never felt so lonely or so frightened in my life. Somehow, I had taken a wrong turn and wound up in the wrong day, in the wrong body, with the wrong future. Somehow, in 3 hours, I was going to be in a real fist fight with real fists, and there was no way out.